Welcome to the Rockin' Hour of Think Local First.
You come off that other music and then come into this one, and then specifically to think that kind of music coming into this hour.
Yeah.
When we're talking Lavender.
Lavender, which sounds so nice and relaxing.
Yeah.
I could put it in my bath with a bath bomb. I think I have some of those. My granddaughter.
You have some lavender bath bomb?
I do. I'm not sure why I inherited them, but they came back from my granddaughter, Liliana, and she returned some of the jewelry that we used to do jewelry shopping as kind of a fun thing to do with kids. And I'd put all my costume jewelry out, and she'd come in and shop.
She just loved that.
So we are here.
Yes, we are.
We are here today with Ryan Hopkins. Did we introduce ourselves? I think we did. But this is Susan O'Connor-Fraser.
And Tam O'Connor-Fraser.
On Think Local First Radio here on Santa Cruz Voice. And Ryan Hopkins has joined us. Hi, Ryan.
Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
We're good. And he's with the founder of Lavender Creek Company. So before we find out about all the lavender stuff, I want to hear your backstory of where you grew up. How did it all start?
Yeah, so Lavender Creek, we're a family business.
Mm.
We're located at the very east end of Carmel Valley Road, way out in the Arroyo Seco area, real beautiful area, not far from the Arroyo Seco campgrounds. And we got started actually, my wife and I were both business backgrounds. I grew up, I went to high school in Monterey and Pacific Grove, so I was familiar with the area, but I was originally from Southern California. And so I ended up making my way back down to SoCal, or Southern California. And so I ended up meeting my wife there, and she's an accounting and finance background, and I'm a business-to-business sales background. And so we always felt like we were a micro business between the two of us. Mm-hmm. And so, eventually we were planning to get married, and we were starting to already think about starting a family, and why not start a business too? And so we did get married in Carmel Valley. And so it was just that experience actually kind of planted the seed for Lavender Creek.
But you were still living in Los Angeles at the time?
We were, yes. Yeah, we were still living in Southern California, in LA. And the wedding was it was an amazing experience, and we really felt like we learned that we were such a good team together. And then there was a lot of lavender in the wedding, of course. We were making like little lavender soaps as party favors, and we had dried lavender boutonnieres for all the groomsmen and other lavender decor. And so I think that was just kind of in the back of our minds. And as we finished the wedding, we actually drove from the wedding all the way down Carmel Valley Road, or maybe it was like around that time frame. We took that all the way down, and then we saw the land for sale, this property for sale, and we took the brochure, the real estate brochure. We took it home to LA, and we actually taped it to our bedroom door to kind of visualize our goal.
Wow.
And we didn't think we'd actually get that property, but interestingly, it was taken off the market and relisted 2 years later when we were ready.
Wow.
So we ended up buying, I think, around 2019 or so. And then we moved up from Los Angeles at the end of 2020. And we had already been putting in work. We had a solar well put in. And so everything is sustainably powered in terms of the irrigation. And by 2021, we were planting the lavender.
So what drew you to be, essentially you're a farmer? What drew you to that?
Yeah, I think those were just a personal interest of Mariah and I, my wife and business partner. Her name's Mariah. We were, I think we both were interested in something that was outside, and I really like the idea of growing something literally and making something in that way. There's almost a charm to that. And then my wife Mariah, she was really interested in essential oils and the history of the oils, and of course, certain oils have really cool wellness properties too, like lavender. And I think we just kind of really gravitated towards all of that.
Now, your website has this amazing picture. Is that your farm?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them, yeah. And our Instagram, if anyone has a chance to go to Lavender Creek Co. on our Instagram, there's beautiful pictures, beautiful videos. We just had our first public U-Pick season where there was a sound bath in the rows of the lavender. It was amazing. We also grow a culinary variety of lavender. So we were showing everyone who came out, we would make lavender syrup on the spot. It's real simple. It's just water and sugar and lavender. And I think that was a really surprising experience for everyone to taste it and, of course, see how simple it is to do. But just another unique way to engage with lavender.
So let's back up to your, you kind of opened the business, you said, in 2021, but you just had your first public U-Pick event that happened. When was that, and what did that mean? And then a sound bath. Okay, tell me about all that stuff.
So it's we really have become almost a wellness brand, and so that's what we were working on prior to our first public open season this year. And there's a kind of a cool backstory to that. I mean, of course, we were really interested in lavender and its comforting properties, and stress relief, and even there's different medicinal values or properties to lavender. So we were really interested in that. But coincidentally, when we were our son, our second was to be born around 2022. And so we had just come out with some of our products, our first products. We had a really nice cream and some aromatherapy items. And just coincidentally, when our second was being born, my wife said, "Well, she's in labor," and she says, "Well, let's bring samples for the hospital." And I said, "Oh my gosh, you're really multitasking. Let's go." But she was right. It was a great idea, and the hospital loved it. They loved the story, and they loved lavender. And so they said, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to stock you in the gift store, the hospital's gift store, but also the Family Birthing Center gives out these tote bags with gifts to all the patients that have babies here, and we're going to include some of your, soothing soaps or your relaxing products for those patients to take home.
Wow.
And so we already felt so blessed. But that was just, another level to it. So it was really inspiring for us, and we've since grown pretty significantly towards using lavender in healthcare. We are, we're shipping to hospitals in 12 states now.
Oh, jeez.
And mostly just like introductory orders, but we're really focusing on these little rolled towels, little lavender towels, as a comfort amenity. And it's super interesting. There's hospitals that are using them for the patients. There's hospitals that are using them for the staff as an employee wellness, a little initiative. And so it's just been growing in that way. It's really, really, really cool. We've had, we recently had a patient reach out to us. And, she was a family member of a patient, actually, and she was in the hospital for like a week, and it was just a really stressful scenario. And the nurses gave her one of our towels and said, when you're at a low point, open one of these up. And so, of course, she did, maybe I guess like a week later, she remembered it. And she opened it, and then she wrote us this really long message, really heartfelt message saying, in all the chaos of all of that, that gave her a moment. And it was, something that she didn't know she needed in the moment. And it was kind of a, special message that we really appreciated. And it was just nice to see kind of the impact that that's having as we're growing and really hoping to add comfort, especially in those difficult situations.
For sure.
So in this U-Pick thing, are you going to continue that after each season? What's your thoughts?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we want to do. This was our first time running the U-Pick, and we want to make it an annual event. And each year we want to make it a little bit better. Right now, Lavender Creek, it's mostly a farm stand experience. There's not a lot out there. we set up like canopies and had areas for people to relax. But next year, we're going to put picnic tables down by the creek because it gets a bit hot back there. So after you pick or after yoga, you can go down to the creek and relax or have lunch. So we have ideas for each year and ways to expand it. We want to put in more other lavender varieties. But right now we're growing an English lavender called Royal Velvet. It's a really nice culinary variety. Turns out it's also, the oil is more softer, more calming. There's 3 different types of lavender. The common names are English, French, and Spanish lavenders. And each group has a different amount of camphor, which is, it kind of has a strong smell to it. And so, Spanish lavenders are really high in camphor. French lavenders are kind of in a middle amount, and the English lavenders are really low in camphor, and so that's why they're more suitable for cooking.
Right.
They probably won't taste so strong.
Yeah.
In your cookies or your ice cream, and so, but also for that reason, it's less invigorating. And so, as an aromatherapy oil, it's just a softer scent.
So, how much land do you have there?
So we're growing 2 acres of lavender, about 2 acres. The property itself is pretty large. It's a 70-acre property.
Wow.
With Piney Creek flowing through, which I guess you could say that's Lavender Creek.
You can say that.
And so there's a creek right there. It runs into the Arroyo Seco, and we do have we want to put in the bigger French lavenders next to our English lavender, and they bloom at different times, so it would kind of extend that season for people to come out and visit. And there's other areas and things that we kind of want it to evolve into, eventually maybe even leading to becoming a small little wellness retreat.
Right.
If we can. We did have groups of teachers come out. We also had groups of nurses come out, and they had their own private yoga sound bath with U-Pick with us in the lavender. The sound bath have you ever experienced a sound bath?
No, I have not.
I hadn't either. They're pretty amazing. They're very relaxing. It's just, maybe it's the frequency that the bowls are
Okay.
Vibrating in.
So this is a bowl.
One of those crystal kind of singing bowls.
Yeah.
Right.
We had a vendor come out, and it was really amazing. She laid mats in between the rows of the lavender. So everyone got to lay down with lavender eye pillows.
Oh, wow.
And then when she did the sound bath, of course it has a kind of a hum to it, but the bees were also kind of humming around.
Oh, interesting.
And they don't bother anybody. They're so busy because there's so many flowers.
Yeah.
They're probably super happy or super busy. So much to do.
All of a sudden, I'm hearing Jerry Seinfeld's voice from the Bee Movie talking about all the work that they got to do.
And it's true. I mean, when we're out there harvesting the lavender, you cut it by hand, and a lot of times we're touching the bees, or sometimes you're even kind of grabbing them on accident. And no one's ever gotten stung. They're just they're so busy. So in this case, though, it almost felt like you could hear them humming on top of the sound bowl, and also the birds, and you can kind of hear the creek as well. And so it was just a really relaxing experience.
Deep breath.
Yes.
On that, we're going to have to go to commercial, unfortunately. So we're here today with and learning all about lavender with Ryan Hopkins, and we're going to go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to learn more about the process and all the different products that are coming out of Lavender Creek Company. So stay tuned. We will be back after these messages.
The Santa Cruz County Fair opens Wednesday, September 10th with FMX Rampage at the Grandstand featuring Adam Jones, X-Game gold medalist, with his action team. Thursday, it's the Outlaw Mariachi. Friday, it's the White Album Ensemble. Saturday, Red returns, a Taylor Swift tribute band. And Sunday, the Chata Show, and that evening, Los Dinos. And our drone show at 9 o'clock each night. Pre-sale tickets and information at SantaCruzCountyFair.com.
The Santa Cruz County When you need help escaping from an abusive relationship, call on the Angel.
Hello, I am Attorney Angel Hess, and I am ready to help you. Whether you or a loved one needs legal protection from an abusive spouse, cohabitant, or neighbor, I will help you. I have over 7 years' experience working as a lawyer protecting others from abusive relationships.
Stop the abuse now. Call on the Angel, Attorney Angel L. Hess at santacruzlegal.net.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. Hello, I'm Jenna. Treehouse Dispensary, we use information about cannabis to build community. Listen to Carly.
Thanks, Jenna. For those who wake up in the middle of the night, Treehouse suggests a THC CBN chocolate edible blend like Sleepy Time from Sensi Chew. Sleep the night away.
For answers to your cannabis questions, ask your friends at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive in Soquel, or ourtreehouse.io.
What's your family eating for dinner? Chef Ben here at the Back Nine Grill and Bar, where you can pick up family dinner that feeds 4 to 6 hungry people. Family meals include a full rack of ribs, a whole smoked chicken, pound of pulled pork, and plenty of barbecue sauce. Served with a full quart of baked beans, coleslaw, macaroni and cheese, dinner rolls, pickles, a side of onions, and for dessert, brownies with a pint of Mary Ann's vanilla ice cream. Call and order your family's dinner about 15 minutes before you want to eat. See you at the 9.
Okay.
Back Nine's making me hungry.
15 minutes before.
Yeah, we can call them in about and then stop on our way home. This is Think Local First Radio here on Santa Cruz Voice. I'm Susan O'Connor Fraser.
And I am Tam O'Connor Fraser.
We are so glad to be here with Ryan Hopkins from Lavender Creek Company. We were talking about your make me want to take a nap. The sound bath of your U-Pick event, and the also having people coming out and the bees in harmony with the bowls, and it just definitely sounds very relaxing. So, but 2 acres doesn't seem like a lot. If you only get one pick out of all that, when do you plant and when do you harvest?
Yeah, so lavender is actually it's a lot like grapes, and I think even kind of part from the same part of the world,
right?
That Mediterranean climate, and so really perfect for California, and it's drought resistant, pest resistant, doesn't need good soil, just wants kind of a sandy soil that drains well, and so they should live about 7+ years.
Oh, okay.
So we planted in about 21, and right now we're just growing the smaller English lavender, and we harvest in June usually, and so that's the U-Pick season. That's when we're going to be open every year. It's kind of starting at the end of May, and then running through the end of June, and planning your visit. Depending on what you want to do, there's different reasons to come out at a different time of the bloom. So if you come early, like end of May, the flowers won't have opened yet. But the flowers will, the buds will be pretty purple, and the plants will be really nice and bright green. And that's actually a good time to harvest the lavender if you're planning to dry it and cook with it. Or really do anything with you can do arts and crafts as well. But by cutting our particular variety at the end of May, you're kind of capturing peak flavor in the buds before the flowers open. And then you can dry the lavender, and that just takes a few weeks, and that's easy to do, and that's something we show you how to do for everyone that came out. We talked a lot about drying your lavender and taking care of your lavender and the different things you can do with it. And then we did more of the sound baths and the yoga in June, because then that's when the flowers are opening, and it's prettier,
beautiful,
it seems more active, and the bees are everywhere. And then at the end of June and going into July, and as the summer progresses, we harvest the rest of the lavender for essential oil.
Okay.
And so that's kind of when they're the most fragrant for the oil. And we have the lavender oil distilled, and
are you doing that on site in Carmel Valley, or are you sending it out?
We send it out. We haven't done it on site yet, and we've kind of each year we're kind of doing a different setup, and you kind of explore and learn as you go.
That word "yet" is so it has a lot of meaning in it. It's telling us that you've got plans.
Yeah, just kind of right now, just more than plans. But I think it would be pretty cool to have like maybe even a distillation event or something where people can come out and see that process and get to experience that the way we do. Mm-hmm. But we're just kind of figuring it out, that part, as we go. But yeah, we use the essential oil for the products. And then we also use the dried lavender for the products, like our eye pillows, and so there's lots of different cool ways to use lavender, and but we're mostly focusing on aromatherapy and kind of bath and beauty type category for the products, hand creams, some soaps. Of course, our lavender towels are our core business.
Is it? Okay.
That really has become the core. We do ship those nationally, and but then we have other products like we have a really nice hand cream, and that's our favorite here at the farmers markets. We're here every Saturday morning at Cabrillo College, for example. And so come by, and we always give out free samples, and we have a really nice cream. It's like lavender and shea butter, kind of melts into your skin. And some of our customers say they put it on their hands and feet before they go to bed at night, and they even sleep a little bit better too.
Oh, wow. So you were telling us a story about the eye pillows.
Yes. We started doing eye pillows last summer. It's a newer product for us, and it has this really awesome backstory. We were approached by the Monterey Peninsula Quilters Guild last year, and they explained how they, for years they've had an outreach program where they quilt and they craft items for our patients that are going through really challenging or difficult situations and treatments. Mm-hmm. And they had been doing eye pillows for some time, and they wanted to kind of collaborate with us on those eye pillows. So we donated a bunch of dried lavender for those pillows to get made. And so those went to, like, for example, cancer patients in Monterey and in Salinas. And, I didn't realize, I think one of the nurses explained to me that, you can be sitting there for a really long time, like, hours and hours.
This is when they're getting like chemotherapy and they're sitting in it.
Yeah, you're there for a really long time. And so the nurse will give them one of these eye pillows. And it's just meant to kind of block that setting out. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully to be a little calming and comforting with the lavender. And there's organic flaxseed in there, as well as a nice little weight on the bags of your eyes, for example. You can actually warm them in the microwave or refrigerate them. So they're pretty useful, and we have some yoga companies that use them with their clients as well.
It seems like that would be a big market too for you.
Yes.
Are the towels your kind of key product because it's unique and that other people aren't doing them, or because I've been given gifts of lavender eye pillows before. Don't know if it was Lavender Creek or not, but probably not because it's been a couple of years. But I had never heard of this towel.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I think the towels are kind of unique. It wasn't our idea. When we you might see rolled towels in restaurants or on airlines, for example.
Right.
But we were introduced to the idea by a customer, a farmer's market customer, when we had just started harvesting all our lavender, and we had tons of lavender, and it was like,
what do we do with all this?
Exactly. What do we do with all this lavender? So that first year or that second year, I went out and I was doing like 5 farmers markets a week and just kind of getting out there. It was from Soledad to San Jose.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. But it was, it's one of those experiences where we got to meet lots of people and lots of networking. And it was actually at one of our markets in San Jose. We had a customer. She was really nice. She visited a couple of weeks in a row, and she told me she wanted to show me everything lavender that she loved. And so she finally comes back, and she was showing me different lavender sugars from different lavender farms in the Northwest, from Oregon and from Washington, and letting me sample all these different items that she really liked. And then at the end, she showed me this like towel, and she said this was a lavender towel that was given to me while my mother was in the hospital, and the nurse would give it to me, and it was just something that we loved. And could you do something like this? And so, of course, we had just had that experience with our son being born and the hospital there, and so it was a huge light bulb for me. And I thought, oh my gosh,
ding, 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 ding,
yeah, this is perfect. And so we went for it, and it's been a unique product. And we ship them also to some hotels and hospitality and some gyms, but the most traction has come from healthcare. And employee wellness is really interesting. There's some hospitals even have a code system called a code Lavender. And, just like a code blue means someone needs to get resuscitated, and so it's a timed response. A code Lavender, might not be like an immediate response, but it's supposed to be emotional support, maybe more so for the staff.
Right.
Let's say something maybe a patient died on the floor that day, and the whole department's down. They can call a code Lavender, and a team will deploy with healthy snacks and aromatherapy items like our towels, as well as like a chaplain to speak some uplifting words. And so it's just a really interesting way for this, especially for the staff to kind of boost their resilience and to battle nurse burnout, which, since the pandemic is a really big issue. And so there's a uniqueness and in some ways a newness right there with that in terms of that kind of market need. And that's kind of where we're growing the most, is in that area, but also for the patients as well. And it's just really interesting.
They needed that at the season closer of The Pit. on HBO. They just had gone through a massive active shooter situation, and the ER department was definitely
Lavender.
Yeah, code Lavender was needed at the end of that. Something you might think about contacting some of these movie companies or TV companies. So, how long has Lavender been used in these different wellness or healthcare settings? Must date back to forever.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, obviously lavender has been used for thousands of years, and it's not new to healthcare. And I've tried to read up a little bit on that, and code lavender I read started around 2008. A couple of hospitals I think started doing it, including the Cleveland Clinic, and it has grown since then.
Right. And the Cleveland Clinic is like so well known. It's a world class hospital there.
Right. And so it's grown quite a bit from there.
So you tell us about your products that you have, and you talked about going to farm events, but you also have an online store. So tell me about all the different products that you've got.
Yeah, so we do have an online store. We always have free shipping on there. We do 2 markets every week. We're in Monterey at the Del Monte Shopping Mall on Fridays, and then we're up here at Cabrillo College on Saturday mornings. Our products, of course, our lavender towels are inexpensive and really very useful and different, used in different settings. So those are pretty popular for us. But we also have, like I said, that lavender cream is really nice, all natural ingredients, really moisturizing. We have a lavender roll-on, which is really cool because it's just 2 ingredients. So it's just our lavender and coconut oil. And so it, kind of goes on your skin, and you could use it as a perfume, but it's more of a calming fragrance, something to use when you're stressed out or, after work. And so we also do like sachets, of course, sachets for your pillows. Let's see, we have as well. Let's see, we do soaps. We're still doing some soaps, and the feedback we get on our soaps is that they stay fragrant to the very end of the bar, and I think this probably has to do with the fact that we're using essential oils instead of maybe fragrances or synthetic, ingredients.
You mentioned that your wife was into essential oils even before you started the farm.
Yes. Yeah. I think that was a kind of a big guiding push for us. She just was always was interested in the history of essential oils. And so that's been kind of fun for us to work on now.
Is it something that people use in massage? And, is it, so is like the whole day spa industry or, industry, is that a potential clients for you?
Yeah, I think it could be. They are used in spas. There's certain types of oils that they might be using. We do have some spas that are using our towels too. And to kind of go back to your question earlier about lavender and healthcare, what's interesting is I learned that, it used to be the case that you might diffuse lavender, and into the hospital. And I think that's probably changed now since there's kind of increasing sensitivities and allergies.
Right.
And so now there's been a shift towards more of a personal usage. And I've seen, some hospitals are using lavender and other essential oils, maybe peppermint, to kind of relax and but to deliver that kind of to each individual through like an inhaler or different ways, or like, of course, our lavender towels. It's another reason why those are good, because it's more of a personal experience. And, it shouldn't affect somebody else nearby.
So the lavender towel, is that intended to go on your face?
Yes, it's more for your face and for your neck. You can also warm them up. We have towel warmers, and some of the hospitals have even installed the warmers, and in some cases it's for their staff, and they've named these rooms into lavender rooms. And so the nurses can go in there, or the staff can go in there and get a warmed up lavender towel and kind of have a moment.
When are they single use?
You can reuse them. They're 100% cotton. The lavender is not going to stay fragrant, but a lot of times our customers can even wash them and use them as maybe repurpose them into a washcloth.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at your product list. I noticed you have a lot of sold out products.
Yes. Yeah, we're things have been kind of picking up for us. This year has been a really busy year for us.
I bet.
Having that UPIC event was a pretty big undertaking for us, and that was a really cool experience. We are now looking at doing different presentations that have evolved since doing that as well, and just different ways to connect. And so we do really appreciate that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about your events in the next block after the commercial break. But, and I also want to learn more about this culinary aspect of lavender. Yeah, because it's not something, I kind of feel like I've seen lavender as a flower on food, but as an ingredient, I've not heard that. And of course, I don't like lavender at all, but I'm a purple person. So we are going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll learn a little bit more about the events that are coming up and how people can find out more information about Lavender Creek Company, and get your questions answered about how you cook with it. With Ryan Hopkins here, this is Susan O'Connor-Fraser.
And Tam O'Connor-Fraser.
For Think Local First Radio, and we will be back after these messages. Stay tuned.
It's hot up here. Hi, folks. Warren Knox here of Knox Roofing. Yes, it really does get hot up here, but it's okay because Knox team has been sweating it out on rooftops for 30 summers to make certain your roof will keep you warm and dry through the winter. If you have any doubt about your roof will weather the winter, call Knox Roofing today and ask about a free rooftop inspection. We love it up here. 461-0634. Thanks, folks.
You need a clean, pleasant space to conduct business, but you don't want the burden of a long, expensive lease. Your solution is Satellite Co-working and Digital Media Studio on Soquel Avenue. Satellite offers private offices, meeting and conference rooms, even co-working by the hour, day, week, or month. Schedule a tour at satellitecoworking.com. Mention Santa Cruz Voice for 20% off your first reservation.
Get ready to help build one of America's first local news and talk streaming radio stations. SantaCruzVoice.com. How do you do it? By donating either your time, money, or both. You'll be helping the Voice team construct a powerful infrastructure, one that we can all be proud of. To donate your time, your money, or both, go to SantaCruzVoice.com and click support. SantaCruzVoice.com and click support.
It's high time to celebrate the opening of the new Hook Outlet Dispensary, 1129 Mission in Santa Cruz. Get in on the opening fun and really low prices on the Hook's unmatched selection of top-quality medical and recreational cannabis flower, vapes, drinks, gummies, and concentrates. The Hook Outlet is now the West Side's source for finest cannabis at the lowest prices. Get in on all the opening fun and low prices at the all-new Hook Outlet. HookOutlet.com for details and deals.
The Hook. I think we go to their sister dispensary, the Treehouse. I think they're somehow connected.
Oh, I see.
So this is Think Local First Radio, 2-hour block of programming here on Santa Cruz Voice. And we are in the studio with Ryan Hopkins from Lavender Creek Company. I am Susan O'Connor Fraser.
And I am Tam O'Connor Fraser.
Yeah, we are related. Ryan, you were telling us, giving us a little bit of an insight into some of the upcoming events that you're having. You know, we talked about the U Picket. Now we're going, what's happening because September seems kind of busy for you.
Yep. September did get definitely pretty busy for us. But yeah, it was just, I think, kind of in response to our UPIC and some of the people that came out and experienced the sound bath and just the presentation of it all has kind of evolved into a series of speaking events and workshops really this month. And so, you know, starting with the Carmel Public Library on Thursday, 9/11, also the Carmel Foundation on 9/17, and then Sunrise Villa here in Santa Cruz on Saturday, the 20th.
So they're not going to be in the fields with you, so what's this going to look like? Why should I come?
Yeah, so, I'm kind of trying to bring that experience from the field to each of these workshops. And so we're going to be, of course, talking about lavender, and mostly about wellness with lavender, a little bit about cooking with lavender, and then we're going to have different kind of experiences. And so I think at a couple of those events, we're going to actually make the lavender syrup on site again. And so that's simple to do. It's just sugar and water, adding lavender for a simple lavender syrup. And so we'll also have like a sachet, make your own, or make a sachet to take home, just so that we're just kind of experiencing lavender as dried lavender buds. I'll also have product samples for people to try. And I'm thinking about also bringing lavender essential oils, and maybe I'll bring a French essential oil to compare to the English essential oil. And maybe some hydrosol, which is a flower water that is the byproduct of the oil distillation process. And so I just want to bring these different ways to experience lavender and to engage the senses.
It's interesting because you can kind of see how your mind is working right now, is that you're, developing what this content is going to be as you're putting on these events. And then I can imagine there's going to be, that didn't work so well, I'm going to add this or try something different, or that was a big hit. We got to make sure we bring that back. That's kind of what I'm seeing as you're talking about it. I'm fascinated by this idea of lavender syrup, and you say it's really easy to make. What does it taste like, and what do I do with it?
So interestingly, lavender is part of the mint family. And
see, I didn't know that. You win my award for you learn something new every day.
It's part of the mint family. There's over 400 different types of lavender.
Wow.
Most of them you wouldn't cook with. Most of them are going to have that really high camphor, I think, you could say it tastes like soap or medicine, or it's just a really strong, pungent, compound, I guess. And so there's only certain varieties that you want to use. They're mostly, but not all, they're mostly English lavender. And we grow Royal Velvet. If you were to Google that type of variety, it kind of stands out as a culinary variety. And so, there's you can actually cook lots of sweet dishes, but also savory. It's more, I think most people experience lavender in sweet dishes. There's lavender ice cream. There's a lavender, or there's an ice cream shop that sometimes makes honey lavender ice cream with our lavender.
That sounds like something Penny Ice Creamery would make down here in Santa Cruz, because they have so many interesting, different flavors.
Yeah, it seems like a lot up there.
Yeah, like locally sourced, small batch flavors.
Yeah.
And so that's really good. Lavender ice cream is really good. Of course, cookies and breads. And it's a really simple process. It's really easy to do. And it's actually similar to, it's like steeping tea, really. Same thing with the syrup. You're going to bring sugar and water up to a simmer. And then you turn off the heat, you add your lavender buds, and you just let it steep for about 10 minutes. You strain them out, and you have lavender syrup.
Put it on pancakes?
It's actually, you could do that. You could add it to pastries. You could even add it to your coffee or cocktails or mocktails. And it'll keep in your refrigerator for like 3 weeks. So, just a little bit of a time investment up front, but it's really not that hard to make. And then similar process for making cookies or breads, except now you're going to use that milk, whatever milk was called for, a cup of milk. You bring it up to a simmer. You add about a tablespoon of lavender buds to that, and then let it sit for 10 minutes and strain it out. And now that milk is lavender infused milk. And you can use that on any of your recipes that call for milk.
And I saw you use lavender for pork chops.
Yes. So
he's interested.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. So savory dishes are interestingly, the lavender is probably not going to be the top flavor or the main note of that, but you can make some really good like dry rubs. And so with pork chops, we were using not just lavender, but we also toasted cumin seeds on a skillet and got really aromatic, and then put those in with dried lavender buds into a spice grinder, and then use that as a rub on pork chops. And there's different. You can add it to chicken as well, and so there's definitely savory dishes you can use lavender for as a rub and a herb.
Are you partnering with any chefs or restaurants or anything because that to me seems like another kind of fun event, is to have a semi-well-known chef come out and cook with you.
Yeah, we haven't done anything just like that. We had it was really exciting. We had guests that came out during our U-Pick who later on sent us pictures of some of the recipes that they made, like chocolate truffles with lavender Earl Grey filling, and a whole range of cocktails, and just all these so that was really exciting to see that, and definitely makes us wonder, I wonder what else we can do to partner and make something more of an experience along those lines. So definitely.
In the process, it obviously is adding to the flavor. Do you still get the medicinal effects of the lavender when you put it in cookies or something like that?
That's a good question. And I don't think there are, and I don't know this for sure, but I know that there are studies, there's documented studies on lavender for sleep, and even for using lavender on wounds, on skin. I don't know if there's actual studies that are referenced for lavender when you ingest it.
Right.
But I know that there are definitely talk about it, and there's definitely I just don't know how verified that is.
Right.
But I think there is talk of it helping your digestive system too.
I know that's part of I think that some of the challenge is that there's a lot of these more alternative medicines or, supplements or herbs and stuff like that aren't studied that well. And, so that's kind of a people will talk about the value of it, but they can't really back it up scientifically. And it's not that it's not true, that it does that. It's just that it hasn't been studied enough, not enough funding or whatever of where the funding comes from to study like that. Now, you talked about your event at Sunrise Villa. That's kind of a senior living facility?
Correct. It's a Merrill Gardens, a community.
And so the people that are going to be there are obviously more like my age. And are you? And then the two events in Carmel, the public library and the foundation, will you tailor it differently based upon a more senior audience, and will you different products that you feature?
Well, that's a good question, and all three of these are open to the public,
right?
And I don't know if we'll be tailoring it too much different based on the location.
Okay.
I think we're just going to mostly cover wellness, and I really just want everyone to hopefully kind of have an engaging experience and experiencing lavender across, the different, I guess, whether it's dried lavender or an essential oil. Ideally tasting it versus smelling it. And so I'm just really excited for everyone to kind of experience that and hopefully learn some new things. And
you learn new things, because you're going to learn from, like you said, you went to the farmer's market in San Jose and you learned about all these other products that this, woman had been collecting from all up and down the coast. And, you're going to learn which audience or what people are, attracted or to different products that you have as well.
Yes, that's kind of the fun part of doing all of this. Has just been kind of learning and experimenting and, a lot of trial and error. There's been, I've shared lots of things that have worked for us that were really kind of interesting or cool to me. But there's lots of things that didn't work, and lots of products that we experimented, or some of them, we actually made and then kind of, weren't so thrilled about them, and others we tried to make and they just didn't work out. So
right.
There's a lot of that experimenting, and it's kind of fun to see kind of where you're pulled in terms of the market and people's interests.
This is awesome because I think, kind of goes back to the whole, the concept of being an entrepreneur and the idea of, that failure is as important a part of the process as success. As you learn so much from your failures and things you try that didn't work, but out of that might come something new and exciting and successful.
Yeah.
Right.
Not only that, to think in your wildest imagination as you were growing up, did you ever think that you would be a lavender farmer?
Was not on the list.
No, it wasn't.
Not on the bingo card.
No. Just kind of spontaneously got there.
Yeah.
You have two young children. So what's your wife's involvement in all of this today, considering she's got two kids that are, one of them that probably maybe starting kindergarten this year?
Yes. It is a juggle, definitely a juggle. And so it's been a really awesome experience, and I it's been really cool to, of course, share like the lavender and Lavender Creek with our kids, but there's also been, it's definitely a lot of work to kind of balance that out and make everything work, and of course prioritize our kids, and then try to handle everything else. And
you live on the farm?
We're really close by.
Okay.
Yeah, we're really close by, and but yeah, it's just it's definitely a juggle, and but I mean, like I said, we learned that we were such a good team together back at our wedding, and just continue to balance it as best we can, and and really couldn't do any of this without my wife Mariah, and she's kind of more the organized. She's in accounting and finance and bookkeeping, so she's
got that down.
Yeah, very, very organized,
nice
and that helps me because I'm not as organized. And I go out there and I do the networking and kind of figure out what the customer's interested in and work on that front end experience while she's making sure I'm not messing everything up and taking care of everything, keeping it organized.
I see you guys were the business of the year back in 24 down in Monterey Bay, right?
Yes. That was for the SBDC. It was the Central California has these different regions, and so we won the SBDC award for the Monterey Bay region.
Wow.
That must have felt good.
Yes, that was there's all these little experiences that kind of lead you along and kind of help keep you've heard the stories about entrepreneurs being up and down and up and down. So those are the highlights that kind of keep you going. We also participated in the beginning, right when we planted. We participated in CSUMB's. They have a startup challenge, which is kind of like their version of Shark Tank, like Otter Tank, if you will. And so that was an amazing experience. We had to really, really put everything together because we, in terms of the business plan and all of that research, because we had to pitch in front of cameras and 4 judges.
Oh wow!
And it was really, timed response.
Yeah.
And then you had to answer all the questions afterwards, and so that was a really good experience.
Sounds cool, though.
Yeah.
I bet you did you said you participated. Was there a winner at the end?
We did win a prize and trophy. But we were the runner-up for the main venture division.
Oh, okay.
So, and lots of networking has happened. We're still kind of connected to some of those entrepreneurs, and the university's been really helpful in terms of their networking and the different programs and services that they offer.
And SBDC, did you get help from them and guidance from them as you went along?
Yes, exactly. We actually, that was the first organization we reached out to back when we were trying to figure out, okay, let's make this more serious. What do we do?
Well, we're coming up on the end of the hour, and so how can people find out? How can they shop online and talk about where your events that you do all the time?
Yeah, so definitely check out our website, lavendercreekcompany.com. It's all spelled out. It's a little bit long, but Lavender Creek Company. Well, our website always has free shipping. And then we're at farmers markets every Friday and Saturday. Friday at the Del Monte Mall in Monterey, and Saturday at Cabrillo College.
Now, that's seasonal? You'll only be there. Do they have those? Aren't year-round, are they?
Those are both year-round markets.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Sometimes we're usually year-round in Aptos at Cabrillo College. Sometimes we take a break in Monterey. But yes, we're typically there.
That's a great farmer's market. I've been down there a couple of times. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a pleasure today. We are wrapping up with Ryan Hopkins and heard a lot about his wife Mariah, and they have 2 kids, and Lavender Creek Company, and you can go to lavendercreekcompany.com and check out what they have online for sale.
Yeah, check out their website. I'm actually just watching a little video that you had done here.
Yeah.
Looks really cool.
Thanks for joining us today, Ryan.
Yes,
really
thank you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And we are going to be out in about 30 seconds here, and next up is Becky Steinbruder with Community Matters. In her first hour, she will have the new CEO from the Santa Cruz County Fair, which is next week, so be sure to check that out and come out and say hi to us. We will be out there. We will be there Friday.
Be there, yeah.
And Santa Cruz Voice will be there Wednesday through Saturday.